Well, good afternoon, Lester. This is Cody, and welcome to the podcast, The Awakened Stranger. And
Thank you.
just getting it started off this week. So we're just kind of launching the first 10 episodes, and thank you for being a part of it. And this moment, I'd like to just kind of give you a moment to introduce yourself and kind of tell us anything you'd like us to know or any questions you'd like to ask, and we'll kind of go from there.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Cody. I I really wanted to talk to you. I was happy to see your video, and it reminded me a little bit of what happened to me in my life as well. And I just felt like getting to know you more and telling you who I am. And I think it's great that two souls can kind of see the world together.
Yeah. No, it's been probably one of the coolest parts of my life in these last 2 weeks. I did. I made that post just after leaving my job for the last day and went super emotional. And part of that, what happened is I had quit and went back to my job 3 times in 2 years. And I felt like I wanted something different in my life. I wanted something better, something that kind of made me feel like I was fulfilling a purpose. And in that moment, I was super emotional and I posted that video. I had 212 followers on TikTok at the time and had no clue that anybody in the world would even care that that got posted. And here
And
we are today.
yeah,
So
I think it's great, man, because at some point in our life, I think sometimes it's like our gut is speaking to us and telling us that something's wrong, that something needs to be changed or something, you know?
yeah, and that's what it was, and I'll let you share your story here too. Is for me, I'd been in an industry where I had been very successful and really good at my job, and it got to the point where I was feeling like I was taking away from people versus giving back to them, and then it just that if I think a third, fourth part of my awakening happened, and I realized that I needed something different. My soul was really telling my body that what was happening was wrong. I was
Yeah.
getting nauseous. I was throwing up in the morning before I was going to work. I wasn't eating. I wasn't sleeping, and it just got to the
Wow.
point where I'm like, either I'm making a change or my body's going to force me to change. That's kind of the way it felt. So
Okay.
I started
Yeah,
listening.
so me over time, it's just like it I felt like something was empty, and eventually I felt like I needed to make all these little changes. So I could tell you a little bit starting from where I come from and give you an idea more of who I am from the beginning, if
Yeah,
that's all right.
please do.
Okay. So to start, I was born in Guatemala, and my mother came to the United States and left me in Guatemala with my grandma. My mother met an American man here, and they got married. And then later, when I was 3 years old, they returned together to get me and bring me to Rhode Island. So I grew up in a small little state of Rhode Island up until high school, and after high school, I headed south to Maryland. But yeah, when I first arrived at Rhode Island, I was like a Hispanic boy, and in school and stuff, I was the kind of like the only person that was different. So I always felt like kind of like the a story of the ugly duckling, kind of the duck that's different.
Mm.
And yeah, so like in classes and everything, I was very shy, very timid. Like every time kids would be talking around me, I'd feel like they were talking about me. So I was real shy when I was young.
Oh wow.
And unfortunately, I didn't. My education wasn't all too important for my family because my mother and stepfather both they dropped out of school when they were in ninth grade. So I think it didn't. It wasn't really that important for them. They would take me back on like every year. I'd go back to Guatemala for summer vacations, and my mother would keep me in Guatemala for like between 3 and 6 months every summer, which means I was always coming back to school late, like October, November, December, and they were always passing me every year. So I was always behind everyone trying to figure everything out, and it was a little hard for me.
No child left behind theory didn't work too well, did it?
No, man. So,
Wow.
but thankfully, like I said, I was real shy growing up in school, and then there came a time around middle school when My father had a neighbor, and he introduced me to weightlifting at like 14 years old, and that really boosted up my confidence. I started weightlifting, and that made me stronger at school, and made me look better in all the sports and everything. So it made me kind of gain a little popularity, uh,
Mm.
so that kind of helped me out, I think, to not be as shy.
Yeah,
Um, so the one
good.
thing I noticed growing up is that I I was always um, not good at doing like presentations. I'd be too nervous doing a presentation in front of the people, and that was something I wanted to overcome when I was young. So eventually, I was able to overcome that with some later on down the road, and I because I got myself into like trying to do acting and getting in front of people and things like that. So yeah, you could say that now I have good confidence where it doesn't really matter who's in front of me. I'll say I'll express myself.
Very cool.
And yeah, so basically, I started doing different jobs, and then eventually, when I was around 25 years old, by the way, I'm 42, about to be 43 soon. Um, when I was around 25 years old, I started to work security work, like contract security for the government, and around this Washington D.C. area, and that led to finally seeing some money, like getting paid uh, real money that I've never seen before. And then that opened a bunch of doors for me, so much that at the very beginning I was able to buy two houses. So I had two houses and I was renting one. So my life at that point, some years after that, I was feeling like I pretty much had it all, that I just needed to, something was empty. I had everything. I just needed to find out what was empty. And I was thinking, could it be the spiritual part of me? Could it be that I'm not, I was trying to think that I should prepare myself if I want a family someday, if I want to meet someone and have children, I should, prepare my spirit, prepare everything that's about me. And so I tried to figure out, what was missing, what was lacking, and I tried to focus in that area. And while at the same time, because of my job, it allowed me to also to travel the world and see many different countries on doing vacations. So I was also getting more open mind and seeing the different parts of the world, even though I already knew a lot was different from the country I was from. So, but I was able to see more different things. So, yeah, I was living in one house, renting the other. Everything felt good. I started listening to positive motivational videos and audios and everything. I think the very first person that kind of opened me up was Les Brown. He was the first person that opened me up and started making me think more positive about everything. I would listen to him every day. Then suddenly I had my own favorite audios, my own favorite clips that I would listen to every day for at least a couple hours and listen. And it turned out that I was starting to reprogram my brain, and I kind of connect this to the spiritual awakening thing that I must have sparked something inside my brain that made me feel like it was time for me to change everything. And so one of the things that I learned with all these audios is that every 30 days you create. Basically, it takes 30 days to create a habit. I mean, and so I started to create new habits for myself. And every time I conquered a habit, I'd add more habits. And I started to believe that I could take all the good things of people or things that I like and make them a part of me. So yeah, there was a lot of little habits that I decided to do for myself. Like I would say, if I come across anyone with a flat tire on the side of the road, or anyone that needs help distressed on the side of the road, no matter where I am on the highway or whatever, I would turn around and see if they need help. And
Wow.
yeah, so that would be one. And then I added another one, like every time I go to the grocery store, make sure that if I see any elderly people going into the store or leaving the store, that I would go and ask them if they need help carrying their bags or need help or something. So I added all these little things, and it kind of felt, to be honest, like I was doing a lot of help to the world, all these small little things, and I was giving back, and it felt really good. And this actually all happened, like it really started moving when I was around 30, or getting close to turn 30, and then I started connecting that with kind of like I think around Jesus Christ and all that. I kind of connected it a little bit to that, saying that his maybe spiritual awakening, maybe he had something like that. Maybe there's something very special about around that age, the age of 30. I was thinking that maybe I don't know. I was trying to connect it, and I felt really good, man. And at the same time, I was trying to prepare myself for a family, and to get myself ready to be a father someday. To make sure that I was prepared for it. And I got to that point where I felt like I was fully rounded, and I wanted to maybe find someone that kind of had similar ideas, and had similar beliefs. I also had a lot of beliefs in health, taking care of myself. There's certain things I wouldn't want to do too, like uh, like the vaccinations was something that I was considering, not to take, and so that had to do with me not trying to put any different chemicals inside me. But I was never a big person on taking medicine as well. Um, and that might be partly because of my mother. She was always like that too. My mother has like barely taken any medicine her whole life, and she's like nothing affects her.
That-
Um, yeah, so I that's I mean, that's the main part of me. Where I'm at right now is I still work the same, doing the same kind of work, security work, and um I have one son now. And I dedicate a lot of my time. I love being a father. Oh my God, it's for me it's the best job in the world. Because it challenges me, because I'm able to show my son all the little things that I think is important in life. And I try to stay two steps ahead of him. And there's certain little things that I've tried to include in his life to give him a better feel for life. Like every day when I pick him up from school, um, I take him to my bed. We lay down to relax, to make things peaceful. And I talk about his day, and then I try to talk about anything with him, and I show him maybe a couple positive videos or something. So I do that for like 10 minutes every day now, and I think it's a wonderful thing. I'm gonna keep that one up.
Wow. I've I'm taking notes because you're literally telling me my own life in your words is what it feels like. Um, give you a kind of quick rundown of me. I'm 45 years old. I have three daughters. Les Brown was a major impact in my life. I, in fact, got to be security for Les Brown at a convention, and I got to spend about 6 hours with him, just one on one, walking him back from the green room to the stage, and spend some time with him. The most impactful thing he ever said to me was, right, you've got to be hungry. And you've got to be hungry. You want something in your life, you got to be hungry. And
All right.
I learned very quickly that when you want something that's such a passion that you chase it no matter what. And hearing your story just speaks volumes. Like you would be the man on stage that I would sit and watch, listen to how you spoke about your life and what you've done. Just amazing. So thank you so much for sharing. Um,
Yeah, I really appreciate it. And like I said, it's good that we can connect. It's always wonderful when you can meet spiritual people that are on the same path, and that you can share things with, and you can talk and open yourself up to. Because it kind of at this stage of my life, sometimes it's hard to get out of the negativity, and there's a lot of negative mindsets, and then of course, it's hard to meet real people that are true to themselves, and true to the world.
Yeah, and for me, it was a very lonely moment for a long time. I felt like even just communicating with my own family, there was not things being understood on the same level. So I don't know if that was something you experienced as well, but That's
Oh
it.
yeah, and when I was around 30 and I was trying to remain positive, I think that kind of opened the door to the beginning of everything. And I would even, because I knew people around me would be negative, I would kind of put a plus sign or a negative sign on someone's forehead just by looking at them. Like they talk negative all the time, I'm gonna kind of be careful and not speak so much to them.
Well, uh,
So
I'll tell you,
yeah,
this might be too honest. I recently have learned that, right, there's people in your life, and this is what happened for me. I had somebody make a comment that said, if your life was a movie, would you watch your own movie? Right. And in that moment, I would not. I was waking up, going to work, coming home, going to bed, waking up, going to work, coming home, going to bed. And I thought, this is the most boring movie of my life. I want to change it. And so they said, go be the main character in your movie. Go make it something you want to watch. And then his next comment was, but in the movie, there's always supporting actors. And are the people in your life supporting you as an A-list actor? Or are they C-list actors? And so I thought, okay, now I got to pay attention to who am I allowing in my movie. And so what I do, and this is the honest moment, if things go wrong or there's a discussion that is not in alignment with me, or just it's a bad exchange of time, I delete one letter of their name in my contact list. And when your name's deleted, bro, you're gone. Like, and that's the way I've started putting people in my own reality. If you continue to drag me down, you continue to cause me problems, you're eventually deleting yourself. And so
yeah,
I know it's a hard truth to hear it, but I've just realized that, yeah, you're either here to uplift everything and everybody, or I got to move on. So I
right.
love that. And hearing
A
that you,
100%. I'm with
yeah,
you with that. That's great.
yeah, hearing you do that with your son, and teaching him how to just start regulating things early. And I don't know if you mentioned his age. I didn't catch it. I'm sorry.
He just turned 6 years old.
Okay. So hearing that at that age, like I wish there was things that I could have learned. I've gone through a lot of, healing my own traumas and inner child stuff and things that I've caused problems with my own daughters. My oldest daughter right now, she's 26, and I've got two grandkids from her and her husband. Her 2-year-old son is currently, she's teaching him how to handle his emotions to the point
Hmm.
where he understands if he's angry or if he's frustrated. And when he finds himself in those lower vibrations and those lower emotions, he will take himself out of the situation and say, I'm feeling very frustrated and I'm going to make myself happy. And then he sings a song, or he counts to 10, he shakes his hands out, he allows the emotions to release from his body, and he comes back, he's like, okay, I'm happy. Like at 2, she's taught him how to do this, and hearing that you do that with your son and teaching him how to look at things in a different light is just speaking to the man you are. So
Yeah.
that's amazing.
And I got to thank it to some of these positive role models like Les Brown and people I used to listen to, because they made me figure out ways that are positive. Like for example, since my son was born, I've always tried to, the moment he cries or wants to cry for something, let's say, or if he gets angry, I tickle him to death, man. I don't stop tickling him, and he starts laughing, and I'll keep it going for like a minute until or 5 minutes. And then he kind of knows not to mess with me after that. He'll get him with tickles the whole time. So I kind of not don't let him enter the sad or mad part. I try to show him that to always smile, but of course he's going to be moody and he's going to learn his ways. But and
Mhm.
also children, they need to go through everything, and so they're going to behave bad in every situation. And I believe that me as a father, I have to be there to see when he behaves bad, so that way I can tell him that that was bad, and don't do it again. And the next time, I'll the next time we won't come here if you keep on behaving like that. But
Wow.
yeah, so I really enjoy. He's only 6, but I've already started him on different things like skiing, karate. I got him a little dirt bike, and which I'll run around the yard with him. I have a small yard, and I'll run around holding his shoulders and getting ready to pull him off if, and we're doing loops. So I'm getting him ready for that because I'd like to go get my own dirt bike, and we go through the uh, ATV parks and do things together. I also like to bring him to more countries with me. I have planned this summer to take him to my own country, Guatemala, which I haven't been to in a while.
Wow.
Yeah, I have them enrolled in a camp for like a week there. It's called Green something. So they talk and help about farming and planting and all kinds of stuff on a coffee farm.
Oh, wow. Just teaching
Uh,
them culture. That is amazing. I as I learn this stuff myself, and at 45 years old with my children that are adults, my youngest is 17 and middle one's 19 and 26. I'm like, I wish if I had the opportunity to have a flashback to year 2000 and start over before my daughter was born and teach them what I know now. I I I'd give anything for that. But at this point, we can't go backwards. We can only go forwards. And the fact that
yeah.
you're doing that from the beginning is so cool.
Right. And yeah, and you guys can always take awesome vacations together and, plan really nice places. And I've been to so many places around the world that, I could even recommend to you. For example, the Canaries. There's 7 islands in the Canaries, and I've only visited Grand Canary, one of them, but
Wow.
every island is so distinct, and I'd like to start, going to those different islands and things like that. But yeah, man, life has been full of ups and downs, and a lot of, especially when I was younger and I was a teenager. I think most of us have seemed like the world is pretty hard on us around that age when we're teenagers, because sometimes we get hit with some pretty big things as well. And
Mhm.
we just have to follow through, go through everything, try to keep our head up, and then as you grow and get older, you just mature more, and hopefully you have that spiritual awakening that helps you up, helps you out.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of my story. I'm not perfect. Nowadays too, I'm not as spiritually open as I was when I was 30, because like you get wounded along the way as well.
Mhm.
Other things happen. You get wounded wounded
Yeah.
along the way. So sometimes you have to try to just keep going until you feel like you're ready again to clear everything,
Mhm.
clear up all the stuff in you, and then you go back at it.
Yeah, one of the kind of messages that I've been sharing a lot with my kids and even on some other calls was I believe that life is either an experience or a lesson. And we're either learning a lesson and we continue to repeat that lesson until we get it. And some people see that as being punished or getting karma. So my thought is you either learn the lesson and then you gain the experience from the knowledge you learned. And yeah, it's life is just about that. It's learning something. So sometimes you have to close yourself off to some of the lessons that hurt until you're ready to revisit that lesson. So
Right, right.
it's
I,
pretty
I
cool.
could say that I used to have like also a business mindset and trying to see if, I could figure out how to, be more successful on the business side of things and things like that. And, but right now I could say that I'm very content, very happy of, having this position of teaching my kid, having him grow and having the ability to teach him as he grows and do things with him. And, I'm supposed to build him a tree house this summer. So, yeah, I'm really enjoying this. And I think my only job right now in my mind is to try to give him stability, try to give him a stable life, try to maybe not to move and keep give him a nice home. And so that's all I really want to do right now for him.
That's amazing. For myself, the thing that I struggled with as my child or my kids grew up was the balance. I spent probably way too much time focusing on a career and a job, and I don't feel like I neglected my kids. They tell me they've had a great life, but I didn't spend the time with them like it sounds like you're able to do. So maybe help us understand, how do you create that balance in your life, and how's that work for you?
Oh, I'm not sure if I'm perfect for giving advice for that because I'm exhausted. I'm so tired, man, from between working all the time and watching my little boy. I'm exhausted. So I'm in my life. I was kind of lucky to do this sector of security, which kind of, allows me to have so much pressure in my life. I don't have any pressure by any bosses. That's kind of one thing that I really appreciated about this, if you want to call it job or career. is that I don't have a boss breathing down my neck to tell me things or anything. I get to work evenings or nights, and I'm just peaceful by myself. I can actually listen to some audios and keep my mind the way I want it, and make plans and figure things out, like how to build a tree house, how I'm going to do it, and all that. So
That's
yeah, but
good.
it's a balance. Balance is the is what we're all trying to do. We're just trying to balance it out, balance the life, and make sure that we know to walk away from problems, or create solutions for things
Mhm.
that get in our way. And sometimes in life it's kind of funny. You feel like you get really good at solving problems, and you feel like, yeah, bring all the problems to me. Yeah, I can handle
Mhm.
10 of them. I'll throw a solution at every single one of them. I'll eat those problems up. And sometimes you feel like that, but other times you're like, oh no, like
Yeah.
this is too much.
Yep. I've been through that roller coaster myself. It's kind of ups and downs, and yeah, I've had that same mentality as you. Anything I've wanted to do or learn, I watch a video online, I learn it, I study something until I feel confident enough to try it, and that's been my thing with my wife and I. Is every new project I get new tools, and so I get to acquire new tools, I get to learn new skills, and then we get to mess it up until we figured it out, and then in the end we've learned something. We've got some extra things in the garage, and my daughters, they're most athletic and amazing kids in the world, and we built a drift trike. So learned how to weld, taught ourselves
Nice.
how to weld. We put a little motor on this thing, cut up a bicycle for the front tire, and put PVC sleeves on the rear tires so you can just slide around in the road in the parking lot. And we learned how to weld and build a drift trike. And my daughter still to this day. In fact, yesterday she asked me because the throttle on it broke, and she's like, "We need to fix it because I want to go rip the dirt or the drift trike around the neighborhood." She's 19, and that's her memory. So I got to remember to do that. I haven't ordered the stupid throttle yet because I keep forgetting. So
Yeah.
it's about being present. It's about being in our kids' lives and just teaching them how to do things and how to overcome obstacles. And sounds like you figured it out.
And it seems like, a lot of the things too they do by watching and hearing. Like you can't really talk to them directly, but they gotta watch you being outside, getting your hands dirty. They gotta watch you doing stuff or talking to other people. So a lot of it just comes from them just observing.
Hmm.
But yeah, man, I think I want to throw out there that I think it's really important in life. I think the main thing in life is one thing for all of us, is trying to keep the noise down, trying to keep the peace and keep the noise down. I mean, if you're in a situation in life, if you can put yourself in a situation in life where you have total calmness and low noise in your life, I think that's the perfect life. I mean, that's
Yes.
that's great.
Excellent. No, I love that advice because yeah, I let a lot of thoughts in my head, and I want to kind of circle back to how you were mentioning with tickling your son when he gets in those sad moments or outbreaks. And I've had this realization that, right, a thought comes into our mind, and if we hold that thought long enough, it creates an emotion, and you hold that
Yeah,
emotion long enough, and your physical reality changes, right? And you're
right.
helping him understand that even though a thought's there, and you start feeling the emotions, you can shift that before you let everything change. And so
Yeah.
teaching him how
And
to control it is cool.
yeah, there's also other things that I've learned. Like, for example, I used to forget a lot of things. I used to feel like my mind was so cluttered. I had so many things on my mind. So, ever since I started using my phone to write anything down on my mind that comes in my mind, I put it on my phone. It helps me declutter my mind, and it's great. It's great
Hmm.
that I use my phone to remember things, and then I just go back and look at the lists of things that maybe I need to do or that I will do, or I can put anything that comes to my mind on my phone. And often, like I say, like I talk about keeping your mind quiet and keeping the noise down. I ride around, man, in my car and truck without music. I totally keep it silent. I let the thoughts come in, and I'm basically, that's my entertainment. The thoughts are running through my brain
Wow.
when everything's quiet. So I don't, even though I like music, I love dancing, I love the, but no, when I drive, I got no music. It's nice and silent, and I try to keep silence as much as possible. And when we meditate and things like that, and we're in front of a beautiful scenery or something really beautiful, it's nice suck it all in as much as possible. And to do that, things have to be really peaceful and quiet.
Yeah, and that I feel like I'm talking to myself and your thoughts, your actions that are very similar to what I've been kind of trying to put into my life. This recent vacation I took to Maui, the first day that I was there, I text myself messages. So if I have thoughts come in and I don't have a pen or something to write with, I send myself a text message, and that's how I keep my track of my notes. Um, but I was standing on the beach. I was waiting for the time to pass so I could check into my room, and I was right at the edge of the water, right? So waves every once in a while would come up past my feet, and at that point, you start getting sand that covers your feet, and then kind of getting my feet buried. And so I took a step up and moved over and realized that my footprints were there, and then a wave came and everything washed away. And I text myself that day. I said, "Learn from the ocean on this vacation. Your footprints only last in the present moment. One wave and everything's gone." And that was the message I text myself, was learning to be present and learning from the ocean that, right, everything is nothing if you're not currently present in the moment right now. And so it's very cool to hear your words in a almost
Yeah,
identical form of how I was trying to remind myself to be present. So
that's awesome, man. Also, I wanted to mention two things that it's sometimes you do little fun things. Like I got a little rubber bracelet on myself, and I decided to have a one sentence on one side that says "Live to love, love to live," and it's good. And then on the other side it says in Latin "Sta pra veritate," which means I stand for the truth. And
mm,
it's kind of funny to know that my last name that I inherited, my surname from my stepdad, the family motto, they actually have a family castle in Scotland, and they have a family motto, and that's it. We stand for the truth. Sta pra veritate. And
wow,
I have that bracelet on me. But
very cool.
I also wanted to mention that I'm not sure if you're familiar with Dr. Wayne Dyer. He was wonderful, man. Wayne Dyer was the best, and when he passed away back maybe like I don't know 8 years ago, it was in Maui, I think, in Hawaii, and he had his children, throw his ashes out in the ocean, and they all went out there in a canoe. All his children, I think there were like three or four of them,
Mm,
and that's what they did. That's what he wanted, and it was great, man.
wow,
That I learned a lot from that man as well. Those are practically my two heroes in life, probably that helped me. Would be Les Brown and Dr. Wayne Dyer. Those two were
wow.
the main men.
That's crazy. I see. I've told my wife, we grew up in a religion where being cremated is not really common. But I said I would love my ashes to be put into a tree pod, and I would like my ashes to grow within a tree. We only live. Trees give us the oxygen. Our human body releases carbon dioxide, and that circle of life. And I said I would like to become a tree and allow myself to grow and give back.
That's beautiful.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of cool. So just my stupid emotional moments, but
No, no, that's beautiful, man. I'm with you. I'd probably, if you don't mind, I'm gonna take that as well.
yeah. So I don't know. There's just a part of me that has seems very connected to nature lately, and it's been healing my soul, and so giving back in something that has kind of rebirthed me as well, and given me a purpose has been something I just feel like it's my obligation to give back to the planet. It's kind of a very surreal feeling right now. So
Well, yeah. Albert Einstein has that famous quote that I really love: "Look deep into nature, and then you will understand everything better."
oh, I'm sorry, I'm writing that down. Um,
And yeah, that's a very popular quote of his, and you know, I think he's got it right, man. It's in nature where you feel like you're refreshed.
yes, absolutely. So yeah, I'm gonna ask you one question, and as we kind of wrap things up, but is with all of your life experiences, with what you've gone through with your son, and obviously this message that we're sharing is going to be very impactful for a lot of people. But if there was one very important thing you'd like to leave with people, is there a message that really just resonates with you today?
Um, Well, I think people have to understand that the positive, the negatives, the ups and the downs. It's all a part of nature, and it's a part of life, and it's a beautiful thing to go through the whole the whole movie, like you say. You know, it's a beautiful thing. So
Mhm.
you have to go for the ride and just make sure that you keep yourself in balance. You know, make sure you don't fall off the roller coaster. And
Mhm.
you know, by doing that, you have to have a couple tools in your belt, which means, you know, tools to keep yourself positive, to try to keep yourself away from negative stuff. And yeah, you have to recognize your soul very much, that when your soul needs help, you have to be able to know how to look for that help.
Cool. Well, I can't tell you I've appreciated this connection enough, or a lot. You know, it's been, like I said, it feels like I'm talking to a different version of myself. You're obviously very connected and very in touch with who you are and who you can teach your son to be. So it's been amazing.
I I really appreciate it, Cody. Yeah, you know, if you're ever in Maryland, that's where I live. So don't be afraid to give me a little ring, and you know, we can do some fun or something. But
Absolutely.
yeah, that's I think that's making these connections is a great thing, man. Because like I said, the world is already you know, it's already sometimes very hard with all the stuff. I mean, you know, that's why I don't even watch TV, Cody.
Mm.
I don't watch any news. I don't watch any TV. So I try to, you know, I'm informed. Actually, at my work, they do have a TV, but if I could turn it off, I would. But other
That's
than that,
awesome.
I don't have a TV at home. At home,
Wow. Well, I
yeah.
think you're definitely showing by example. So a lot of people could probably learn some lessons that way too.
Yeah.
So
So I really appreciate your time, man. I love that you're giving this chance to everyone to be able to tell, you know, what they went through in life, and it's great to make a new friend. I really appreciate you.
absolutely, and I will definitely find you when we get that way because there's connections that are happening on purpose, and that's for sure. So we'll figure out a way to get together, and I would love to meet you. So
Awesome, brother. Thank you, man.
okay, hope you have a great day and a great weekend, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you, Cody.
All
Take
right,
care
we'll
now.
see you. Bye.
All right.